to my channel. I'm Amanda and we are here with Sketchbook Chat, and I'm going to be drawing these faces on my sketchbook while I talk to you about my art journey. I got requested to talk about myself, so I suppose I will tell you a little bit about my art journey. This is going to be a quick overview, so if you want me to go in depth about anything else that I mention, or go into further depth on like anything, then please comment in the section below, and also suggest more topics and stuff to talk about on these, because I'm kind of running out now. So yeah, let's just get into it, and I will tell you about my drawing habits. So I have been drawing since I can pretty much remember, but I first got into art and drawing more seriously when I was about 12 to 13. The first thing that I drew properly was this Final Fantasy character, and I can't remember who it was. I thought it was Yuki, but my brother told me that it wasn't. Anyway, it was this like line drawing pretty much. It was like an outlined drawing of her face, and it was kind of anime, obviously. So I showed it to my mum and dad, and my mum was really proud, and she framed it and she put it on her wall, and she said that that was the first ever drawing that I have done. There's no like date on it. I'll see if I can insert a picture. I don't know if I took a picture. No, I probably won't be able to get a picture of it by unless I ask my dad. Yeah, maybe I'll ask my dad. If I ask my dad, then I'll put it in here, but if I don't, then that's fine. Anyway, so yeah, she's had that up there for like 13, 14 years, 15 years maybe, a long time. So she has taken it from house to house and put it on her wall, which actually really encouraged me to continue drawing, because even though my mum and dad didn't really know much about drawing, they were really supportive about it. So I was very much into drawing portraits of celebrities and friends with graphite on printer paper. Like, I didn't know about decent paper or sketchbooks. I didn't have any guidance, basically, because as I told you, my mum and dad weren't really into art, and neither was my brother. So I just kind of thought that printer paper was the only paper that you could draw on, and it was very handy to just grab because it was always in the house. So I drew like really non-detailed outlined drawings of these celebrities and friends. And if you go back a couple of videos, or a few actually, I'll link it in the description below, I have showed you all of my old artwork from the age of 14-ish, so I'll show you that and you can check that out. But yeah, I was pretty good at likeness, but I think that was because a lot of the time I did trace, and then I added details afterwards, and then I would show my mum and dad, and my mum and dad would be like, wow, that's really good, that looks like them. So they never really told me that it was rubbish, but they didn't really know either. And back then we had the internet, but it wasn't like, it was just MSN days. It wasn't like YouTube or anything like that, and I didn't know that you could look up art stuff online. Like, I just was totally oblivious to it. So I was terrible at highlights and shading and softness and all that stuff. I took art in high school, and my teacher was awful. He used to force me to do landscapes, and I really didn't like to do them. And I had to do a landscape for my exam, and I failed it miserably. He didn't really teach you much about drawing. It was a lot more design, like handbags and shoes and clothes. And he also got you to write a lot of essays about Monet and Van Gogh and all that stuff. So he wasn't really good at teaching you, and he didn't tell you about how to, like, he didn't tell you to draw outside of school. Like, he just literally just gave you a project, left you to your own devices, and told you to do it, and then that was it. It was weird. I can't really remember much about school, but I remember that. But then in 5th year, even though I didn't really stay for 5th year very long, I think I was about 16, 17 when I was in 5th year, I stayed for like 2 months, and I got a new teacher, Mr. Macaulay. He's awesome. He taught you more about style, and was able to draw. I was able to draw portraits again, as much as I wanted, and he gave you things to do with light and shadow and reflection and all that stuff. He gave you actual like still lifes and things to draw, whereas the other teacher did not do that. So after school, at the age of 17, I tried to go to college for art, but I think that I didn't get in. Either I got in and decided not to go because I was too anxious. I got bullied at school, so I didn't really want to go into college and get the same treatment, so I was really scared and skeptical about going to school again. So I tried to go to college, but I kind of failed, and I just got a job instead for a while. And I completely stopped drawing as well. So I can't remember what age I was, but then after that, a couple of years later, I decided to try and go to college again for graphic design this time, graphic design and illustration. The last time it was for art and design. But I hated the school environment and felt like I wasn't learning what I wanted to because of the graphic design part. So the very first lesson that we had, we went in and I had to draw an amp, like a guitar amp, and I had to use little tiny squiggles for the full thing. So obviously you have to do the squiggles closer together if you want shadow, and then further apart if you want light. And I just hated it. I was like, this is not drawing. This is just like filling in a lot of space with some squiggles, and it just put me off it. My friend that I used to go, like, she was my best friend at the time. We went together and she stayed on and got a certificate and graduated from that. I didn't. So I left and got another job in a fish factory, which was fun. So then I kind of stopped drawing again, and then I was drawing a lot when I was around 19, 21 age. But again, it was just portraits, and I wasn't learning much. I had no access to YouTube, or at least I wasn't watching art on there. I was watching a lot of vlogs and cat videos and just stuff like that. And I never really got into art books either. Like, nobody gave me any resources to teach myself how to learn art, and I didn't really pursue it as much. I don't know why. I didn't have very good supplies, and I just bought what I thought was good, which was like, if you go into the works or somewhere and it says artist quality on it, you buy it and you're like, yes, this is really cheap, and then it's like £2 for a pencil, and you're like, or a pack of pencils, and you're like, yeah, but they're actually rubbish. So then I became pregnant with Caden, and this is relevant because I joined this group called Cafe Mom, and it was to do with like helping you, like, it was just a mum group basically, but there was also like subcategories on groups. So there was this subcategory and it was just art and photography. So I was in that group for a while, and I learned a lot from this girl called Amanda. She's awesome. If she still runs her Facebook page, I'll put it in the description below as well. But she taught me how to not outline portraits. So I was drawing portraits from the age of like 12 basically, and I was outlining everything, and then I didn't get told, or I didn't know until I was 21 not to outline all this stuff, and that there's like shading and form and highlights and stuff like that. So it took me a long time to learn, and I really wish that, I don't know, I had a little bit more of an interest in it, or I knew a lot more, or that I knew a lot more artists. I don't know, I just didn't really get the resources that I need. It's so much better nowadays where you can just go on YouTube and be like, how to draw, and then this amazing video will come up and tell you all the resources that you need. So a lot of the artists there really encouraged me to keep going, and I was a part of that for a long time, that group, and then I lost interest when the owner of the art group handed ownership over to me. She decided that she didn't want to do it. She wanted to do focus on photography and her family a lot more, so she gave ownership to me, and I just didn't really, like, people weren't posting anymore, and it just kind of died. The group died, so I gave ownership to Amanda, and I left, and I checked back now and again to see how people were doing and to post like what I was up to and stuff on YouTube. Then in 2014, that was a year after Caden was born, I discovered that there was more than vloggers and cat videos on YouTube, and I discovered The Sims. So I stopped drawing altogether for a year again, and I just made Sims videos. Then, in 2015, I discovered Bailey J and Mark Crilly, and I thought this was amazing. How cool is it that you can like share your art online, and I can watch videos and learn from this? So I took to really studying and watching art videos every night and making sure that I was taking notes and all that stuff to learn how to teach myself how to draw. So I went from streaming on the Twitch channel Sims to streaming art, and then I was still trying to get good at graphite, but Bailey inspired me to do markers. So I posted one marker drawing on my art channel, and I lost interest after a couple of marker drawings. I don't know. I ran out of ink quite quickly, and then I realised how expensive it would be to replace the ink. So I have like 40 Copic markers that are dead, and I don't have the money to like replace the ink. So I decided to go away from Copics, and then I started to do digital portraits. So that was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I was really happy, but at the same time I was kind of like, I don't want to really keep on drawing portraits all the time, just portrait after portrait after portrait, and the disconnect from the tablet that I was having was really hard to get used to. But there's a lot of digital artwork on my channel if you want to go and check that out as well. But yeah, I soon stopped that, and I tried my hand at watercolour and coloured penciled animals and still life. So I tried to branch out, used a different medium, drew and painted different things. Then in January 2016 I became obsessed with drawing portraits on tanned paper. It wasn't exactly Dee Dee that got me into that, but it was a big influence on that, and she also was a big influence on my colour books. But I did have a video at the very start of my channel in 2015 where I was going to do adult colouring books, but then I thought, no, nobody's going to like this, like this is not popular. And then a couple of months later it became popular, but I just didn't post a video. So then I started doing colour book videos, and I really enjoy colouring in other people's artwork. I think it's awesome. It's like a collaboration, and it's really cool. So I haven't done a collaboration on my art channel yet, and I really would like to. I just need to find somebody to do it with. I think I have a few people in mind. It's just the ideas though, because I'm not a very creative person. I tend to draw what I see, unless I get an epiphany. Then I feel like self-conscious about asking to do a collab, because I was like, right, I want to do a collab, but you have to come up with the idea, and it just sounds stupid. So yeah, I also started my relationship with Scrollerbox around December 2015, and I made a ton of videos about that, and it got me really thinking about concept and design and things that I can make. And then we bring ourselves to 2017, which I think that I've kind of taken a step back. A lot of people on the YouTube, when they talk to you about how to get better at art, they tell you not to finish things, not to try and spend about 4 or 5 hours on one drawing. That you can learn from that, but it's better to fill up as much sketchbooks as possible, as quickly as possible, to draw as much diverse things as possible, and to learn form and shadow and shape and all of that stuff before you go into trying to draw things. And this stage should have happened way before I started drawing other things. Like, it should have happened when I was 12, 13 years old. So if I have any advice for people that start art and want to be good at it, I would say draw in your sketchbooks as much as possible. Find inspiration to draw other things. Do not just focus on one thing, because you might not like it in the end, and try and find your way of doing things and what you like the best before you try and finish a 3 to 4, maybe even 6 to 20 hour painting or drawing. So that's my kind of art journey. I want to push myself a lot more to learn and to become a better artist, and just to do what I enjoy the most. So that's it. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sorry that the content that you were watching wasn't the best, but again, I'm pushing up my sketchbook game. Like, I have never drawn, well, I have, but I tend to not draw things like you see on the top there, like the girl that I drew. I tend to not go into as much detail, and I just make my drawings look pathetic, just horrible 3-year-old line drawings. Anyway, so yeah, that's it, guys. Try and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified of all my videos, because I will be posting extra videos here and there, and different types of videos will be coming out rather than my regiment schedule, because I feel like my content is getting dry, so I really want to try and branch out a little bit with that. And yeah, comment down below. Tell me what you guys are working on. Tell me your art journey. I really would like to know that. And I will speak to you tomorrow in my next video. Bye guys.